Hello, welcome to Lab 1 Azure Cognitive Search Fundamentals. In this lab, I am going to create a search index using the portal by configuring the indexers and the data source. The first thing to do is go to the Azure portal, portal.azure.com, and open the previously deployed resource group KWM-search. Within the resource group, access to the search service. The prefix you selected, -search -service. So I click on the name. I can see in this moment it's empty. Storage doesn't have anything, no indexes, nor indexers, nor data sources. So now I want to import data. To import data, we need to connect to a data source, configure the indexer, how often is going to pull, or the data is going to be pushed to the indexer, and of course the index where the data is going to be pulled. So I go to import data. First step, connect to your data. Connect to the data source that for this lab is Azure Blob Storage. Provide the name of the data source within this Azure search. This is going to be blob-storage. The data to extract keeps with content and metadata, parsing mode keeps as default, and the connection string, if we don't have the connection string in this moment, from the portal we can choose the storage account and container. So I'll select the storage account deployed previously and the container where we uploaded the sample documents, and click on select. Container name already selected. There is no folder. Optionally can add the description. I'm going to leave as default. Next step is add cognitive skills. This is optional step. I am going to configure with the cognitive service deployed before to manage and to get some information about the images and the text that we have in the documents. When I click on next, it starts validating that the connection to the data is successful. Once it is successful, then start with the cognitive skills. Optionally, I can just jump to the next step, but now I'm going to configure first to attach to the cognitive service, and then add the enrichments I want to include within this Azure Search Index. And finally, the save enrichments to acknowledge storage. Specify where they are going to be saved. First one, select the cognitive service deployed previously. If you don't see it, we just can click on the refresh button and select the service. That's all in this part. I'm going to collapse it to go to the next one, add enrichments. So first of all, for the add enrichments, we need to specify the name of the enrichment. In this case, by default is Azure Blob -skillset. I'm going to change it to use the same prefix I've been using, my name. Also, I will enable the OCR, the optical character recognition, and merge all text into the merge content field. The source data field, keep it with the merge content. Enrichment granularity level, keep the default, the source field. And then select all the enrichments we want to have for the text cognitive skills. I will select everything but extract personally identifiable information. This is because the PII only supports English, and some of the documents uploaded in the storage account are in a different language. So we are only going to extract people names. It's going to be the people field name, organization names, locations, key phrases, the language, and the translate text using the target English. So here we can select the language. I keep it as English. This is going to be the translated text. Also, since I enabled the OCR, it gave us the image cognitive skills. For this option, I will select all of them. Generate tags from images. This is going to be the image tags field name. Generate captions from images and identify celebrities from images. These are all the fields that are going to be included within this Azure Search Index. And finish with enrichment. The next option is to save enrichments to a knowledge store. To do that, indicate the file projection. So I select it and it's asking me to select the storage account. I will work with the same storage account. So Anna str, same container for this lab, and there it is. And indicate the table projections that I want to use for this option. So I will select all of them, the documents, key phrases, entities, image details, and image references. And collapse this. Okay, so with this, we are ready with cognitive skills. The next step is customize target index. I'm going to click here. Also, it's validating that all the cognitive skill was correctly configured. And to customize the target index, also by default, it provides the name of the index. Also, I'm going to change it for my prefix. The key is detecting metadata storage path field is the key for this index. For the suggester, I'm going to include a suggester also using the same prefix hyphen suggester. And the search mode for this suggester, we only have analyzing infix matching. After that, there is the list of all the fields available for this index. Here we have, by default, some of them are already retrievable and searchable. So here is where we can start configuring the options that we want to have for each field. If they are going to be retrievable, filterable, sortable, faceable, and searchable, and if they are searchable, select the analyzer that we want to include. And since I already added a suggester, also for the string type, same as the searchable, for the string type, we can enable the suggester that indicates. Okay, so I will make everything retrievable. For the content, it's going to be retrievable and searchable. The metadata storage content only retrievable. Metadata storage size will be retrievable, filterable, and faceable. Metadata storage last modified only retrievable. Metadata storage content MD5 only retrievable. Metadata storage name also only retrievable. Actually, the MD5, I'm going to delete it. We are not going to use it within this lab. So I keep with the name, then the metadata storage path, that as we saw, this is the key for our index, only retrievable. After that, I'm going to delete the file extension. We don't need this field. Metadata content type, only retrievable. The metadata author, only keep it as retrievable. The creation and last modified also as retrievable. Let me go down. There it is. Actually, I'm going to jump to the merge content. Here it is. Besides making retrievable, as you can see, it's also searchable, as well as the translated text. So we can see some of the searchable, some of the strings or string fields are searchable. In the case of people, I will make it filterable, as well as organization, location, key phrases, and language. All these 5 are going to be filterable. And only the people, organization, location, and key phrases are going to have selected the suggester, as well as the merged content. So only these 5 fields are going to be suggester. Okay. Also the metadata storage size. Well, I already did filterable and faceable. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure that I already enabled this option. That will be all the configuration we are going to have. Only these 5 are going to be filterable beside the storage size. Only the storage size is going to be faceable. Well, we have a few as searchable and only 5 as suggester. All of them, I will keep them as default with standard Lucene. Some of them already had by default English Lucene. I'm going to keep these analyzers. And we have our indexes. The last step is to create the indexer. So I click on next. It's validating the configuration for our index. And finally, we can provide the name of the indexer. Also, I'm going to change the prefix for the one I've been using and a hyphen indexer. Here is where we can schedule how often is going to pull the data from our data source. Only once, every hour, daily, or we can customize how often we want to get our data. Under advanced options, we can explore the base 64 encode keys, enable, the maximum failed items. I'm going to change it for -1. The data to extract, let me come here, the data to extract, I'm going to change it, well, keep it for content and metadata. And the parsing mode also, I am going to keep it as default. And we are ready to submit the indexer. What is going to deploy? Our indexer that is only going to pull the data once from the storage account selected, from the container selected, including the cognitive service that is already attached and all the enrichments selected before, and also creating the index where all the data is going to be sent. So now I can click on submit and wait for our data to be uploaded and the resources to be created. I'm going to pause the video and start when it's finished. Now we can see, let me show you in the notifications, the skills were already created, they detected the schema, but for now we already have the skills. And it redirects me back to the search service overview. Now I can see in the index there is one index, one indexers, and one data source. In the storage should be a little bit, but it takes a while. Let me refresh to see if we can already see how much storage we are consuming. Not yet. Anyway, I'm going to access to navigate and monitor our skills in Azure Search Service. First, well, we have the usage, the overview. Under monitoring, we can set or we can have a quick view for the latency, the search queries per second, the total search queries percentage, in this moment still empty. Under indexes, now we can see all the indexes we have in this moment. It seems it's still uploading in documents, that's why we don't see anything yet. I'll be back in a moment. Under indexers, we can see there is one indexer and actually it is in progress, that's why we still don't see any document. I'm going to access to the indexer. There it is. I'm in the indexer blade. We can see the execution history one is finished and check if it was successful or failed. In this moment, still in progress. Since I just selected once, and if there is new data in my data source, in this case in the container of the storage account, I have the option to run it again to get all this new data. But for now, I'm going to close this blade and keep exploring, this time the data sources. Here is the data source, a storage account, specifically from the sample data container. I will click on it. And now we can check the detail, the configuration created for this data source. We have the settings, or optionally, if you are more familiarized with the JSON solution. So for security purposes, as you can see, it's not showing the whole connection string. But if you have the permissions, we can get the credentials in case we need for other resources. Let me close this blade. Also, we can explore the skill sets. There are 9 skill sets in this moment. This was optional, but we configured. So I'm going to access. And we can see the resource that is used for this Azure search, for this skill set. We can check the knowledge store, what is going to send. And also, again, the JSON definition in case we are familiarized and also to facilitate future deployments. So I'm going to close this. Go back to the indexers to check the status. It's still in progress. Again, I'm going to pause the video and wait for the indexer to complete, and when it's finished, I'll be back. Alright, it already finished. As you can see, it took 9 minutes. The total of documents, 21, succeed out of the 21. The total of warnings, there were some warnings here. I can access again to the indexer and check that there is one succeed pull from this data source to our index. I can run it again in case, as mentioned, maybe we add more documents. I want to get this new data into my index. I can run it again. But for now, I'll close it and go back to the indexes. Now the index has the 21 documents and check the storage size. So it's just storing the data based on the fields configured instead of storing all the documents. The documents are still within our container in the storage account, but here we only have the metadata based on the also cognitive skills specified. So now I will access to the index. And first we can start exploring by sending a query string. This query string is based on the searchable option of every field. Here are some examples. If I want to search everything, the top 10 and skip 10, search and then specify everything. I'm going to start with everything. Should give me the 21 documents with all the fields specified for each one. So we have the score, the matches that we have, the content. It's a very long document. And then we can see every field that we kept. I deleted some fields before, so they are not part of this option. Based on the cognitive skills, if it includes people, organizations, location, key phrases, so this is part of the cognitive skills included that we already have within our index. For example, I want to search Microsoft, and now it's giving me all the documents that include, this is an image, a content type is an image, it is a specific value that contains the keyword Microsoft based on the searchable field. How do I know that? We can come back to the field. That, by the way, the only property we can change after it's deployed is the retrievable. If I want to make other fields searchable or remove it or make it faceable, we are not going to be able to change, only the retrievable. So be careful when you apply the index. Anyway, so we can see if I type Microsoft, it's going to search in the content, people, organization, all these fields are searchable. So in all these fields, it's going to check that the keyword exists. I go back to the Search Explorer. So now I can see, for example, organization is Microsoft. I can go to other document, and we can see in the content, within the organization, within the key phrases. Example, now I go for CEO, and same thing. It's just going to give me the score, the search score, and then where it found the CEO. Well, I didn't find here. Let me go slower. Should be somewhere there. For example, here is one. So everywhere where it found these values. As you can see, only 2 documents. And also, well, there are the fields, but also we have the index definition in case you want to replicate and create something similar. For each one of the fields, the content is a string. It's only retrievable and searchable, and same for the other indexes. All right, here we finish our exercise 1. Now we are going to start with our second exercise, working with Visual Studio and consume our services. To do that, first we need to clone our project. Here is the page. You are going to find the link in the description of this video. So we come to the Azure Search Knowledge Mining, clone locally the resource, the repository. I already have it. I opened the solution, the cognitive search.ui. We make sure this is set as the default project. So we right click on the project and set as default. Also, we need to change the app settings in order to connect to our resources. Still opening. There it is. Okay, so what we have? The search service name. We need to provide the name of the search service we are using in this moment. In my case, it is called Anna-search-service. Also, we need to get the search API. Back to the portal, we get it under the settings in the keys and copy one of these keys. Both of them have the same permissions. So this is my key. Also, we need to provide the index name. For this demo, the index name we've been using is, well, my name -index. Next setting, the search indexer name. The indexer name also have same syntaxes. That will be Anna-indexer. The storage account name, that will be the name of the storage account. Anna-str is the syntax is follow. Now I need the account key. So let me go back to the portal to get my storage account key. I'll go to the resource groups, access to my storage account, and within the storage account blade, under the settings, there is the access keys. I can get one of the 2 keys available. Get this one. There it is. I need to provide the storage container address. So create a URL. This is the name of the storage account and the name of the container, which is sample-data. Also, the key field by default metadata underscore storage underscore path, we keep as default, is path base 64 encoded, we keep it as true. Optionally, if we want to integrate with application insights, if we want to monitor our app, we can provide the instrumentation key. For now, I'll continue with the next one, which is also optional. If we are working with other containers, if we have more sample data, more data to upload, we can also provide the other URLs. Optional, mapping the subscription key for the Azure Maps. The graph facet will change it instead of key phrases and location for the CSS. And the additional customization, keep the default values. So this is everything. We are going to modify. Some of them are optional if we want to integrate application insights or other sources. Now we can start our application that is connecting to our Azure search, indicating the index and indexer, and also the source, the storage account. Still building the project, I'm going to pause it and continue, start recording when it loads the page. Ready, it already loaded. Now I'm going to start searching, for example, Microsoft. It's going to my index in the Azure search service to get all the documents that have the keyword Microsoft. And here are PDF, images, some XML, so all the outputs for this word. Or example, I go for CEO. Only this document has the CEO keyword. If I go and search for Satya, also the list of all the documents that have this keyword. If I click on one of these documents, it's opening whether the image or the content. We have the transcript, in this case for the image, all the metadata related. If I included maps, also we'll see the maps, but all the metadata, example, the image caption. So all this is part of what we got from our skill set. The storage type, the size, I moved before the extension, but could be also the extension. So all this metadata is from the data source. But besides that, the data from the skill set like organizations, language, the image tags, and image caption. I go for another document, in this case, contains the whole file. The transcript will be the original content. And same thing, we have the metadata extracted from the data source and the skill set. Alright, so we can start working, start search for our different keywords, different data. I go again for Microsoft. But also, only the storage size, we made it as faceable. That's why it's the only one we have here in the left to group, to arrange the grouping of our data. Besides that, I will go to the Azure portal where I have my Azure Cognitive Search opened. We can create our template, an HTML page from the portal, from the index. I click on the index. And on the top, on the menu, we have the option to create demo app. Based on the schema created for this index, we can go and create. Azure is helping us to create the HTML, indicating the faceable, the grouping we want to have, again based on our schema. To do that, we need to enable the course and go to create the app. This is taking us to another blade to specify the individual results. I want to have for the title, the name, for the description, I will add, let's say, the locations. For the sidebar, only one field is faceable. If we have more, here we can see the list of all the faceable fields, and also how I want to arrange a number range, or as we saw in previous demo, with the checkbox. I leave it this time with number range. And the suggestions also, depending the field we created a suggestion, is going to indicate us if we want to add this in all these fields. Also, if we want to get a thumbnail, I'll keep it like this and go to create my demo app. Basically, it's download the HTML document connected to our Azure Cognitive Search to the specific index. By default, it searches everything, but I can go and again type for specific content. As you saw, it was showing me the suggested and give me all the documents. It's a bit different, it's a bit more simple, but we can start testing our Azure search from this demo app. We have one faceable, so it's filtering based on the size. We can go and navigate in case there are more than one pages. So basically is that it's giving us the title, and for the description, for the content, the locations in case they have locations. Alright, well, with this we conclude our lab. Thank you very much for viewing, and I hope you have time for the next lab.